Becoming a millionaire starting with a low salary sounds impossible, right? Well, only 31% of the millionaires averaged 100,000 a year over the course of their career, and 1/3 never made six figures in any single working year of their career. 8 out of 10 millionaires come from families at or below middle income level. Only 2% of millionaires came from an upper income family, and I know more than one that became millionaire in my country, an emerging country, on a low salary. And I'm going to teach you how to make a million, spending less than you earn, making more money than you immediately need, and investing it wisely. That's what I've always thought, and I've taken thousands of people from 1,000 to 1,000,000. And that's today's video. So don't worry about liking or commenting just yet. First, make sure you get real value from this video. And if you like it, in the end, don't forget to help this channel grow. So first step, start before ready. This topic is the most basic. You see me here speaking in English with a slight accent, maybe a hard accent, because I started this channel before it was ready, and it has worked. It's the same thing for accumulating wealth. You probably already know that you need to invest to get rich. I'm going to teach you in this video how to save money and how to make more money, but investing is part of the process. And the longer you take to start investing, the longer it will take to reach your first million. Everyone wants to buy stocks at their lowest and sell at their highest. All beginning investors are afraid of buying at the wrong time. A common question investors have is, when's the best time to invest? But here's the reality. Timing the market is incredibly difficult, and it's not even necessary to build wealth. Let's look at a real-world example over 20 years with two investors who each invested 10K every year in the S&P 500. Investor A had amazing luck and invested exactly at the lowest point each year. They achieved an impressive average annual return of 12.64%, accumulating around 836K after 20 years. Investor B was very unlucky and invested at the market's highest point each year. Surprisingly, even with this terrible timing, they still managed an average annual return of 10.78%, ending with a solid 640K after the same 20 years. This shows that even if you have the worst possible timing, simply investing consistently and staying patient can lead to substantial growth over the long run. And here's why stay invested works so well. Looking at historical data from the S&P 500 over the past 96 years, after just 1 year, investments were positive 73% of the time. After 3 years, this increased to 84%. After 5 years, it rose to 88%. And after 10 years, an amazing 94% of investments showed positive returns. The lesson here is so simple. Stop worrying about finding the perfect time to invest and instead focus on consistently investing and staying in the market for the long term. Your returns will likely thank you later. And this video is not about that, but you can check out the channel for several ways to build your portfolio with awareness and analysis of good assets, so you can start to understand more about what will make your money grow, eventually achieving ever-increasing returns while staying motivated. But if you still don't know anything, understand that just investing in an S&P ETF like VOO is enough and will make a huge difference in your financial life. So start now, even if you don't feel ready. But before investing, you need to save money, right? So let's move to the second step. And please let me teach you the cliche: spend less than you earn. I knew two completely different guys. Let's call them Lucas and Fred, because I can't reveal their real names, and it's a real story. Lucas was a waiter and earned 2.5K per month. That's 30K per year. And Fred was a financial advisor who earned 10K per month or 120K per year. You might instantly think Fred had much better shot at becoming a millionaire, but let's look closer. Lucas chooses to live really modestly on 2K per month, saving and investing the remaining 500 each month. Fred, despite earning a lot more, spends lavishly and only manages to save $200 per month. If both invest their savings at an average annual return of 10%, which aligns with the S&P 500's historical average return of approximately 10% per year since 1957, guess what happens after 30 years? Lucas ends up with approximately $1,130,000, becoming a millionaire. Fred, even with his high income, has just around $452K. This is simple but crucial. And how do you do this in practice? First, you have to deal with reality, especially if you are young and have never lived alone. I have a tool here that can help you. There's a website called knowbill.com. On this website, you can check the cost of living in every city on earth. For example, in the USA, the average cost of living for a family of 4 is 4.1K without rent. A single person's cost is 1.1K without rent. On this website, you can also understand exactly why the prices are as they are, what costs the most, and how much each of the essential expenses cost. It is very interesting and can help you plan to live anywhere and even choose to live in a place where things are cheaper. Let's imagine that you earn a below average salary, 34K per year. You need to calculate the cost of living, which, as I mentioned before, in the United States is on average 1.1K. But you can research your city plus the cost of housing if you have it, and then it varies a lot because you can share with a roommate and reduce the cost by half. Or you can live with your parents, or you may have to bear it alone. So let's assume an additional $900 for housing and $2,000 for taxes. That's $2.2K in expenses per month. You can save then $589. And saving at this rate, you'll be a millionaire in 29 years. So it's possible even with a low salary. Now, do you remember Lucas, who I mentioned before? Well, in real life, the Lucas I knew was a waiter for 2 more years, but he studied, started freelancing, and eventually opened his own business. After a lot of work, he reached a 6-digit salary. So if you clicked on this video thinking, I'm going to stay here in my comfort zone, earning a little and living an average life, I think you'll be disappointed, because I want to take you out of that comfort zone and show you that you can and deserve more. So let's move to the third step. Stop working for peanuts. If you are fine with earning a low salary for the rest of your life, you can skip this section and go straight to the next one. No hard feelings. But I know nobody actually wants that. I once earned a very low salary myself, working tirelessly from Sunday to Sunday, and I know firsthand how exhausting and frustrating that can be. In this step, you have to start thinking like a business person. As someone who has hired many people, I can offer you a clear perspective from the employer's side. There are 2 possible explanations for why you are earning so little. First, you might genuinely be getting exploited, meaning you are earning less than you truly deserve. But second, you might not be providing enough value to justify a higher salary. Resolving the first case is pretty straightforward. Either resign and find a better job, or learn how to negotiate your current salary effectively. Economist Linda Babcock from Carnegie Mellon University once pointed out that graduate students who don't negotiate their salaries at the start of their careers live between 1 million and 1.5 million in potential lifetime earnings on the table. In fact, studies have shown that employees who negotiate their initial salaries see an average earnings increase of 5 to 10% over time, whereas those who don't negotiate typically see only about 1 to 2% increase. Your main issue might be that you don't fully understand your market value or how to negotiate effectively. Thankfully, negotiating your salary is simpler than it sounds. And here's how. First, do your research. What's your job position? What exactly do you do? Where do you live? Use LinkedIn and other reliable salary tools to determine the average salary for your role in your location. During negotiations, aim to ask for around 15% 10% above the average salary. Be willing to accept a salary that matches the average, but never accept less. But what if the average salary for your position is still too low? That means you are dealing with the second scenario. In this second case, you have three possible solutions. One, start a side hustle to generate additional income. And there is no secret to this. You need to do freelance work, or combine two part-time jobs, or sell things online, or start a business. There are many options, and I've even made a video about it on my channel. And two, upgrade your skills and qualifications to switch to a better paying position. It's not true that education is useless. Of course, you can study on your own, open a business and create your own opportunity, but if that's not your goal, know that the market does value a good diploma on the wall. According to the US Bureau of Labor Statistics, the higher your education level, the more you earn per week. People with a high school diploma typically earn $853 per week, while people with a bachelor's degree typically earn $1,432, which is a pretty big difference. And three, shift industries or markets entirely to access higher salaries. This ties into the second topic because you can study to move into a higher paying field like technology, healthcare, or finance. But if you can't afford education and you're really not willing to deal with student debt, you can look for sectors that are paying well, like blue-collar jobs. With a quick search, I discovered that largely blue-collar fields like manufacturing have seen faster average hourly earnings growth in 2023 than many primarily white-collar categories like business and professional services. Did you know that a railroad worker earns an average of $73,000 and that an elevator technician can earn a six-figure income? And I know these jobs usually use a lot of your physical strength, and maybe when you're older you don't want or can't keep them. So let's move on to the next topic, the fourth step: avoid lifestyle inflation. Well, from the age of 18 to 30, you are going through the most important years to generate wealth. And don't worry, because I'm not saying that at 40 or 50 you are doomed. I'll come back to that later. But from the age of 18 to 30, you have more vitality to work harder and learn faster. And you can also take more risks and spend less. The average age of first-time mothers is 26 and fathers is 30 years. So many of you won't have children until you are 30, and children are usually the biggest reason for increased spending. You need to be more responsible when you have a family. So when you are young, you have to save as much as possible and avoid lifestyle inflation. Here's a quick example to illustrate this. Imagine you are 22 years old, earning $3,000 per month and spending $2.5K. You have $500 left each month to invest, about 17% of your salary. At age 25, your salary increases to $4,000 per month. Instead of saving more, you upgrade your apartment, buy a nicer car, and now spend $3.5K per month. You're still saving only $500 per month, but this is now just 12.5% of your salary. And just to show you how much of a difference it makes to save more, if at age 25 your salary increases to $4,000 a month, but you choose to keep expenses at $2.5K, you would save $1.5K per month. Remember that with 589 you would be millionaire in 29 years. Well, with 1.5K the years drop to 20 years. You will become a millionaire 9 years faster. Let's come back to our 40 and 50s year friends. A study conducted by the Census Bureau and two MIT professors found the most successful entrepreneurs tend to be middle-aged. After compiling a list of 2.7 million company founders who hired at least one employee between 2007 and 2014, researchers found the average age of those who founded the most successful tech companies was 45 years. In general terms, a 50-year-old entrepreneur was almost twice as likely to start an extremely successful company as a 30-year-old. So if you were this age and still have a low salary, maybe it is time to start creating your own opportunity as I did. Well, that's it, cousins. I hope you enjoyed the video. Stay invested until next time, and bye-bye.